My name is Hayley Nixon. I am 35 years old and based in Durban, South Africa. After a couple of amazing years in the sport, I'm proud to say that I am the current ICF Ocean Racing World Champion. Surf ski racing, it has this incredible community of people. They love the hard days, they love the good days, they love it when it's flat and there's dolphins. They love it even more when there's wind rushing behind them and they're racing downwind. And I think for me it was so rewarding to do a sport that gave so much back, and that even on the toughest days and the toughest races, there's nowhere else in the world I'd want to be. To become world champion is obviously a lifelong childhood dream. So before I knew it, we were lined up in Hong Kong, 2017 ICF Ocean Racing World Champs, and as nervous as I was, I knew I actually had a shot at winning the race, or at least being on the podium, which was going to be a pretty remarkable effort. And to cut a long story short, 2 hours later I was leading the women's race, and it came down to a mammoth battle against some of the other top ladies in the world, including the current world champion at that stage. And I came away with the world title. I came away as world champion. In that moment, crossing that line, knowing I'd done it, fulfilled so many little empty parts of me that I didn't even know existed. But I think the reality was, when I almost thought I'd reached the top and fulfilled everything I wanted to do, all of a sudden this whole new world opened out to me that snowballed into so many more races and so many more opportunities to get more involved in the sport of surf ski. That's where I've really found myself, and I think that's what's going to carry me through the next 10 or 15 years of being involved in the sport. 2018 was a dream year for me. I think as an athlete I couldn't have performed any better, and I couldn't have dreamed any better. I raced 15 or 20 surf ski races in the year, but I raced 11 international surf ski races. I won 10 of them. In the entire 2018 year, I lost one surf ski race. And to walk away at the end of the year with that kind of achievement, knowing that 5 years ago I didn't even know what a surf ski was, is beyond imaginable. A hugely personal goal for me is to try and identify what the barriers are to entry in the sport. It is an incredible sport that every single person should be doing, and what we need to do is to figure out, especially with women, what's holding women back, what's stopping them from starting, and possibly what's stopping them from continuing into the sport. What's happened now as a result of the last 2 years of us realizing this gap in gender equality in male and female was that companies like Carbonology and Eurosteel, Shaw and Partners overseas, F&B, our local bank here, and basically said from now on we're all about equality, we're about equal rights. So the women that are racing are getting recognized the same as the males that are racing, and together it can only create a positive light for us to all move forward. Local surf ski races have now got equal prize money. International surf ski races, significant ICF level, World Series level races have now got equal prize money. And from this there's been a huge knock-on effect. So races are stepping up and incentivizing women. The women's racing is getting more competitive, which is ultimately what everybody wanted to see. On top of that, women get more exposure in the media, which knocks on to sponsors wanting to back those women, and in turn, the whole game lifts. The future goal is to see if I can continue to merge my life with surf ski paddling. At the moment, it's relatively simple. I train and I race, I coach and I run clinics. But I think we have a lot more to give once we stop racing. So my goal for myself is to keep the longevity in the sport and be able to merge all that I've done now and make that a bigger and better parcel as I move forward into the next chapter of our lives. None of this racing and travel would have been possible without the support of sponsors. And I've been lucky over the last 4 or 5 years. I've had Carbonology Sport on board with me almost since the minute I stepped out of a rowing boat and into a kayak. Very soon after that, Eurosteel got involved. They're a huge part of paddling in South Africa in general, and they took me on as their surf ski paddler. And most recently with the likes of overseas companies like Kobe Ocean Apparel, who took me on to kit me out and provide me incredible ocean paddling kits and racing kits. And most recently and hugely significant is the involvement from Shaw and Partners Financial Services. I think athletes, we have to be so grateful for this, because it's one thing for us to try and produce results, but if we can't actually get to these races, we can't do what we love and we can't do what we're good at. 2019 is definitely set to be the most competitive season of my career so far. I've set some really high goals for myself, and I feel that there's pressure and expectation, but that's amazing. I'm excited for that and I'm ready for that. But I think what's more important is the chapter it's going to lead to me, which is 2020 onwards. And the idea that the rest of my career in the sport is not just going to be about podium finishes, but what other value I can add moving forward.